Good afternoon. My name is Janine Searcy, and I am the founder of Credit to Keys, and I am here with my co-founder, Miss
Monique Reed.
And together, we are your team to help you go from fixing your credit to getting the keys to your dream investment property or your first home. Welcome. We're here, girl. We made
it. We made it from behind the class.
You missed your flight. You came in from Chicago. You missed the flight. You did all the things, and you still got here.
I did. I said if there's a will, there's a way.
And you made it.
Yes.
You did good.
After a few tears, but...
Well, thank you for flying in and joining me today. I'm super excited to get this podcast going with you because I feel that our mission is just so important. There are so many people that, and we've talked about this before, right? We were there before too, where your credit has just really held you back. The financing has really held you back from being able to truly secure the keys, right? You can't get the keys without having the credit and the money. So this is really important what we're doing.
It's been a real, interesting journey for me as well, because I think a lot of people assume, oh, you've always had good credit. You must have known this from birth, or your parents taught you this, and that's why you're able to help so many people. And that is not the case. It's
not the case for most people. Credit is not taught in school.
It is not, which I think it should be.
It really should.
Right? We're subject to this at the age of 18. Most of us are going off to college. We're getting all these offers in the mail for the credit cards. We don't know anything but a broke college kid.
That's right.
A lot of times, that is where most people mess up or begin to mess up their credit. Right? So I tell people all the time, I am not holier than thou. I've had credit repair before, okay? And it's okay. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to, just strategize and see how can we work at this together.
Absolutely.
There's always a way.
Absolutely. I remember when I had done my first flip. My first flip was actually my personal home. So I didn't have to use my credit at that time. But when I went to go do my next project, I was like, oh my gosh, now I have a chunk of money. I had about $70,000 and not good credit. So my sister actually helped me to get into my first property because I didn't have the score that I needed at that time.
Yeah.
So I brought her in as a credit partner and as like a joint venture agreement so that I could get into the business of flipping. And I just remember I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to be able to do this? I was brand new, a big old wad of cash in the bank account, and I'm trying to figure out what's the next best play. And I was grateful to have had my sister, thank you, Sabrina, as a partner to be able to do that, because I don't think I would have been able to get to, where I've been able to get to at this point.
And that's another thing too, when we do have someone who can assist us and when we are in that stuck situation, that's always, most gratitude to them, right?
Of course.
But what do you do if you don't have that scenario?
Correct.
Right? So a lot of people are like, well, I don't really use credit. I'm a cash person. I've never needed to, borrow anything. And so they need to borrow something, right? And then they're like, well, why am I being charged this amount? This is highway robbery. Why is my interest rate this? And they don't understand exactly how much credit really does impact their day-to-day life outside of even investing.
Correct.
But of course, in our scenario, we're able to leverage our good credit scores to make us more money.
Absolutely. Business funding, business credit is a game changer for real estate investing. It just is. There are so many companies that will lend to businesses, and that will allow for you to be able to leverage those cards, leverage that money to help you to secure your first investment property or your next.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely. And I tell people too, because I do still, of course, work in the lending industry, the banks are looking for businesses to invest in. So you don't have to be afraid. You're not stealing. You're not doing anything wrong by asking for these funds.
I think people are scared to go into the bank, though, and ask. That's intimidating.
I've heard that.
You don't always know. You don't always know what to say or how to do it, right? And you're walking in the bank and the branch managers, how can I help you? You're like, Oh, whoa.
Right.
Where did you come from?
Right.
I'll come back. Thank you. I don't know what to put on this application.
Yeah, and that's actually like a mini science of what to put on the application because, of course, you don't wanna put too much of anything that's
Mhm.
going to be an absolute denial, turn down right away.
Right.
But at the same time, you wanna, be most honest in what you're requesting the funds for, what your business does in
Mhm.
a very strategic manner.
Mhm.
But yeah, people tell me all the time, like, they went to go and get the branch manager when I was opening the bank account, and I didn't get a chance to ask. I was so scared. I thought the police were coming in. Like, I've heard
Listen,
the stories.
Monique, remember the other day I told you I was sitting in the bank because I was changing my last name over. Mind
Mhm.
you, guys, I'm terrible. I've been married for 4 years. I just converted my last name and it's been a whole process. So I'm in there and the girl, the teller, she kept looking at me and then she was looking at my bank account and I was like, okay, what's she bet? She's like, oh, do you have a private banker? I was like, oh, she's about to try to bundle me up and sell me off to the personal private banker. I was like, I'm not trying to get new credit cards. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I was like, what is she trying to do? And I remember I told you, I was like, girl, I think she was about to invite me to the private program. Literally the next week, I
Mm.
get the
The email.
invitations and the emails. Yeah. And it's just, sometimes you just don't know. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, wait a minute. Like, girl, what are you about to try to do? What do you
So,
need?
that's interesting because I was telling you when I first got into banking, I was like, I didn't know what to do. I came from the payday loan industry. So banking was
Mm,
a total, 180. We were
that had to be
actually
crazy.
taught to help people. Well, that's what they told us. We were taught to help people in our
Mhm.
trainings, whereas in the payday loan industry, they were like, just get them the loan, get them to sign the documents as fast as you can, because
Jeez.
you were ripping people off
What were
basically.
those interest rates?
395% at the
Shut
time
up.
when I was there.
397%.
Yep, 95. So you were
Oh my
ultimately paying
gosh.
in a 6-month term because that was the only term you could get.
Mhm.
You were paying the loan and half of it back. So you were paying about a good 125, 50% of what you borrowed back
Girl,
in that 6-month period.
that is outrageous.
Yep.
That should actually be illegal.
Well, they did. They changed the law in regarding to like, okay, how much you can charge on interest rates.
Mm.
But you have to think about well, a lot of the question for me, what I was thinking was, why do you guys keep coming back?
Yeah.
Like, I know it's my job to call you and I
Mhm.
want you to come
Right.
back, but when it's time to pay the loan, everybody's like, angry. But they kept coming back.
Just no financial literacy and no real understanding of how to get out of the current situation.
Absolutely. Because if you were whatever drove you to need that loan
Mhm.
has now put you in a worse position because you've had to pay so much back to even cover that. So you've fallen behind
Mm.
on something else. So that was my why of why I wanted to join the banking, industry because, like I said, nobody taught me these questions or the answers to these questions. So I was trying to figure out how to budget and how to improve my credit, how to buy a house.
Mhm.
I wanted the American dream, and it just opened up so many additional questions once I actually got there.
You're like, "Wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is not what I thought it was."
Yeah, and one of the main questions, funny enough, now that I'm in the credit repair industry, but one of the main questions that I started studying a lot was, well, why is my credit score this on your system when you pull
Mhm.
it? And why is Credit Karma this? I didn't know. I was like, well,
I think
what the,
when the voice goes up 2 octaves,
yeah. So I was like, I should start studying. I should start figuring out an answer for these people because I don't like to look bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was pretty much how I started studying, how to improve your credit, what impacted your credit. And then I was like, okay, who are the credit bureaus? They have a major part in this whole transaction.
Mhm.
And I thought I was doing it all for like myself and my family until so many people would ask me questions that seemed simple to me.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh. And then I kept getting the same question, getting the same question, getting the same question. So when you were like, hey, I'm noticing a lot of my girls are having credit issues, they want to get into investing and they're kind of stuck there.
Mhm.
And we decided to co-found Credit to Keys.
Mhm.
That was the perfect opportunity to take my teaching, my education of
Mhm.
all of the years of, me researching
Mhm.
and bring it into a platform to just help the masses.
Yeah, and I love working with you.
Oh.
It started off as a mentor opportunity, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm your mentor for real estate investing. You're closing on your property
Yes.
tomorrow.
Yes, I am.
Congratulations, your first new build construction. That's huge.
Yep.
Using business funding in
Mhm.
order to purchase it. So, you're using your own methods. All right. Like this is not just something we talk about. This is
Yeah, you gotta
actually
practice
yeah,
what you
practice what you
preach.
preach. This is what we do and how we're closing deals. So I'm honored, of course, to be here and very excited for you. But um this is important work.
Mhm.
There are so many people that are looking for ways to fix credit, to gain funding because they don't own.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
don't own homes. And so we have this rental, mentality that's really being pushed, right? Like there's a lot of builders nowadays that are building for build to rent. And
Mm.
they're positioning these beautiful new build construction homes, but they're not for sale. They're to
Mm.
rent. And because they're nicer areas, they're more money, but it's less for people to get in than if they actually were going to go out and purchase a home or purchase in that community. They couldn't afford to purchase, but they could afford to rent
Rent
there.
it.
So I feel like there is a shift going on right now in our economy to really take the American dream from people and keep consistently encouraging our younger generations into rental. And I'm like, that's not the solution. You have
Yeah.
no equity, you have
Mhm.
no ownership. You're susceptible to whatever happens with it. If the actual owner, if they keep it up, if they don't keep it up, it's like
Yeah.
there's a lot of factors that go into, home ownership and into renting. And I am a proponent of home ownership for everyone. I believe in it. Everybody doesn't have to have $1 million house. You don't
Yeah.
have to, everybody doesn't have to live like
Get your
that.
starter house.
Get a house that is safe, affordable, and makes your family feel loved. Like that is a home to me.
For me, and I was just actually telling the makeup artist,
Hey,
I was telling her
Roz.
my mom was one of those people who liked to move every year to 2 years. So my mom never
Mm,
owned a home, but what that gave me and what kind of pushed me into wanting to be a investor and a homeowner
mhm.
was stability.
Yes.
I was not stable growing up. So, you had to go to new schools. You had to pack up all your belongings. You have to
Mm,
meet new friends. You have to kind of restart everything.
mhm.
And I was just like, I'm gonna change this narrative for my daughter.
I love that.
And I want to paint her room without the landlord getting mad at me,
Mm.
So that was kind of like one of the things that led me into it. But
That's so sweet.
yeah.
It's like it's those types of things, like, sometimes it's the little things. You don't even
Mhm.
think about it, but it's like, "Oh, if I rent, I gotta get permission, and I gotta paint it back." Like,
Yeah.
do I even wanna get permission, or do I just wanna paint it back before before
Right,
I'm about
right.
to move out?
Hopefully I can find the shade color.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
White. Yes, yes. So honestly, that's beautiful. Like, I'm so excited that, you're actually getting to start your journey with us because not only are you doing the work, you're
Mm.
helping other people, you're, changing the narrative for your family. It's like you're a trailblazer, right? Like you're the type of woman I love to work with. People
Oh.
that have initiative and are looking to be different. And I just feel like real estate is that what I like to call kind of that great equalizer.
Mhm.
It really does help people to start positioning their wealth. It just
Absolutely.
is.
And I absolutely agree with you on that in regards to the types of people you like to work with. And um, in this industry, both credit, financing or funding or
Mhm,
and or real estate,
mhm.
you have to be a party in your own rescue. Like there is not going to be one single day that goes the same in either of those industries. And if this is your
Amen.
dream, if this is your dream to really, build this for yourself, your family, to inspire your community, you got to get a little bit of a thick skin. And you
Yes.
also have to just continue to grow and learn.
You have to be able to pivot.
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of people, when they receive the funding, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I have 100, $1,000." And you're like, "Yeah," and you're about to go on and buy a house for 300,000. And, it's like having a real understanding of how to leverage the money and
Mhm.
make that initial money that you have stretch and go, but not putting yourself in a position where you're over leveraged.
Yes.
So many investors only see the positive side. They see the profit opportunity. They don't look at, I had to make down payment. I had to, have working capital for the contractor. I had to make a
Mhm.
monthly payment. So just understanding, hey, this is what I feel comfortable leveraging from my business funding. This is
Mhm.
where I know that these numbers aren't going to stretch me too much. I can, make it through a couple months of a project, take my profit, and then flip it and go do it again.
Yep.
Instead of just running out like, oh, well, I have to hit six figures. It's
Yeah.
crazy to me. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I was actually just talking to someone this week and she was like, I think I would like to start with a partner because I know where I am
Mhm.
and my comfort level. I don't want to put stress or strain on my finances.
Correct.
And I commended her so much for that because it's easy to see the glittering gold at the end of
Mhm.
the tunnel, but getting to that tunnel, if you've stretched yourself, it's like, oh, okay, you might have to re-strategize or re-navigate here because you might not make it through, make
Yeah,
it
through your
through.
project.
So it really is a strategic thing when you're utilizing your business funding or getting it and figuring out, okay, well, how much of this do I want to leverage and for
Right.
how long do I want to leverage it and all of that good stuff.
I agree because it's one thing if you secure $100,000 in
Mm-hmm.
business credit, right? Like if we secure that for a client and another client has secured $100,000. Well, if the down payment on a house is only 50 grand,
Mm-hmm.
25, 25,
25.
right? And maybe another 20 split to go do it. So now you've only leveraged $35,000 instead of that full 100,
Mm-hmm.
where there's some people, they see $100,000 in funding and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm buying a house where I'm going to put down 80 cuz I want the six-figure profit." And it's like you struggle the entire time
Yeah.
because you're not calculating your holding costs and the other expenses that you have in order to make it through that project. So,
Mm-hmm.
having an overall awareness of how to properly strategize,
Yep.
how to look at the money and not just, not just see like the bag.
Dollars.
Yeah, not just see the bag, but see a way to, use that money to change your life.
Yep.
And sometimes it's not a overnight thing,
Right.
right?
No.
It's a progression.
Mm-hmm.
I made 50 here. Great. I'm going to add 50 to that. Okay, yeah, we're girls. We might want to buy a bag.
A congratulations to
Yes,
myself.
right. A little something. I've had some girls, they went out and got some surgery and some things done and turned
Mhm.
around and used it for marketing and
Okay.
rebranded themselves and they're
Right.
successful. It's all about how you pivot and how you smartly, I like to say, use
Yeah.
your money.
Yeah.
It's an investment. It's all an investment.
Absolutely.
So, Monique, I have seen you do some incredible things for our clients. I have seen you erase bankruptcies. I've seen you update late payments. I have seen you take off, repossessions. And it's never an overnight thing, right?
Right.
It's a process. But you're the first person that I actually saw do it. There's a lot of people in the industry that claim, right? Like, oh yeah, I can do a wipe in 10, 14 days and
Mm.
nothing wipes, right? You're like, oh my God, hacked again. Like this person scammed me again. And it's like working with you, I feel you're so upfront. You're so transparent. You let people know that it takes time. It's a process in order to get here.
Mhm.
And I feel that when, clients choose to work with us and especially working with you, they're getting a partnership.
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
a strategy. You've shown me things that I'm like, "Oh my God, the utilization tracker, how your AI software is
Yeah.
absolutely insane. The software that you brought to the program alone, to me, I'm like, this was amazing. Like customized dispute letters, like what are we talking about here?
And I think, see, so with the software, the reason why I love it and I like it so much for people is because you have to make it simple.
Mhm.
You've told me before, like, sometimes when you're talking, you just go a little, like, what does that
I'm like,
mean?
I don't know what that means, Monique. I don't know what that means.
I'm like, the FCRA and the CFPB. And you're like, who?
Who is that?
So it really brings me to the point of making it simple for people so they don't give up, because that is what the credit bureaus are banking on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And being able to just have it where, okay, this software is going to identify what is showing negatively. So I don't have to look through my credit report, because most people don't know how to read it, which is okay because we weren't taught. So the software is going to identify what's negative and it's going to put it on the letter for me. I just have to mail it out.
Sign me up today. Sign me up today.
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons why I like the software so much. But some of the feedback I've gotten from it as well is like, wow, this is super easy. This is convenient. I've tried mailing dispute letters or customizing dispute letters before, and I didn't know what I was saying. So having it in the simple terms for a person really is that much of a difference in their results and their process and so forth. So
It takes out the
thinking.
Yeah, and the templates, you're like guesstimating, like, is this gonna work? You don't know. So I'm honored and excited to continue our partnership. If you guys are interested in working with Monique and I and our Credit to Keys platform through Black Girls in Real Estate, please make sure that you guys check us out. We have we're calling it a intensive live workshop. We've taken out the word challenge.
Because we don't want anything hard.
It's not
a hard thing. It's an intensive workshop.
It's an intensive workshop where we are going to help you to understand, identify, and dispute in the way that is specific to you and your needs.
Yep. For a full 5 days, we're going to give you the background on the credit bureaus, because you need to know that as well, so that you're not discouraged. And then also offer you afterwards ongoing support, because I know that's where, we get lost sometimes. So check out, our Credit to Keys challenge class, right?
Workshop. Reset. All right. So check out our Credit to Keys live intensive workshop with me and Miss Monique Reed. And we are super excited to work with you guys. Click the link below so you can learn more.